Started. Let me introduce myself. My name is Dean. I'm from Aspire to Be. I'm glad to be working with JTRS to talk about using Minecraft on iPads, which I think is the best way to use Minecraft because number one, your iPads are mobile, right? You can use them anywhere. You don't have to have. I know in Scotland right now you have the one-to-one rollout, but you don't have to have a one-to-one plan rollout to use them efficiently with Minecraft. In fact, we'll talk about using them in the classroom and the advantages of actually not using a one-to-one scheme when you're using Minecraft in the classroom. In fact, a little bit about myself is I was a teacher for over 20 years before jumping on with Aspire to Be. And most recently, I was a teacher in Swansea in Wales. And before that, I was part of a leadership team in London for 6 years. And then before that, I was teaching in Houston, Texas. Before that, I was in Nagoya, Japan for 5 years, and then before that, I was in Dallas, Texas. So I've been around quite a few areas, and teaching is the same everywhere. It's a lot of marking, a lot of planning, and a lot of extra overtime you don't get paid for. So yeah, but one of the things that really makes life easier is having these little tools in your back pocket, and Minecraft is one of those because what it does is it helps visualize. It helps the students visualize that objectives that you set for them, and it's visible learning at its core. When we talk about visible learning, I know John Hattie was hot for a while in his pedagogy, but one of the things that really resonated is visible learning and seeing evidence of a student's learning without them having to actually just talk about it all the time, and having an evidence there to back up what they're actually going to explain in terms of presentations or teamwork and collaborations and that sort. So one of the things I'll talk about first is the app itself. Now, is there anyone here who's had trouble getting the, oh, that's my dog, it's going crazy. If anyone's had any issues getting the app, please let me know in the chat if you've had any issues. I'm just going to assume everybody's got it and you've logged on. Okay. If you've had any issues logging in to the app, please let me know. But I'm going to share my screen here and get moving in a second. So if you can right now, go ahead and get that set up on your iPad. And I'm going to be going in between my iPad and a laptop configuration of Minecraft. So if you see my screen change from what looks like an iPad to another format, that's why. Okay. So I've got my app here open up, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me just move everything out of the way. And one of the things, I'm going to turn my camera off too as I go through this. One of the things that you probably already noticed if you started up your app is it starts playing that music right in the background, that really soft music. So I'm going to share my screen here. And as I do that, hopefully you guys are already logged in as well. Okay. If you, like I said, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. One of the things I'll talk about before we even get started sharing the screen is I want to talk a bit more about what I said earlier about using this in the classroom when you don't have enough for every student, if you don't have enough iPads. One of the great things about it is you can give roles around using Minecraft in your classroom because they're going to be the experts. As you heard earlier, you as a teacher don't have to be the expert in using Minecraft. In fact, what I'm going to teach you here today is just the basics to get you started. Okay. But the students, some of the students, actually, we start with every student, when you ask them, they're going to say that they know and they play Minecraft, right? So if you, oh, I can see some things come in the chat. I'll take, okay. Thanks, Tina, for putting that. One of the things that's great about it is even if students lie about playing Minecraft and they never have, there's someone at their table group or a collaborative group that's going to be able to jump in as well and be that expert. But everybody is a quick learner and they want to play Minecraft, so it happens. So I can see that some people are now, Tina and Kane, anyone else not able to get the app? So just in case, on the registration page, it was there was an actual link to get you to the app.
I've just popped the link in there.
Oh, there we go. So
everyone, Dean. So yeah, if you go onto that link and then if you scroll down, it'll have the details of before the webinar. Download the app following the link, etc., etc. So that should do the trick, hopefully.
and I'm here in my world, what I'll do is I'll wait here. Okay, and everybody see that okay? If you can, just give me a thumbs up in the chat, or just let me know on your mic if you can see it. Everybody see that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you that are clicking on the link and below it, it'll say, I think there's a link to MEE, which stands for Minecraft Education Edition, and that's where you go. So that'll take you to the main website. And what you'll do from there is you will go to the top of the page, and there's a tab, and then one of them will show you a download option. And you just click on that. It'll know exactly, it'll read your device. So if you're on an iPad, it will know that you're on an iPad, and it will give you the app that you need, the version that you need. Okay, so I'll give people a few minutes to do that just in case. Hopefully everybody can see my screen here. Now, this is something that I'm not going to teach you today. I'm not going to teach you how to put images into Minecraft and all that. We're not going to get that advanced. I just wanted to start showing you some of the cool possibilities later on. And if you choose to learn more about Minecraft, this is some of the stuff that you can do. But again, we're just going to cover the basics today. And one of those really cool options within Minecraft is coding. And we're going to cover coding as well. So I'm going to give everybody a few seconds for that. And let's back up a bit so we can actually see the title of what we're going to do today. So first off, look, Kane and Tina, any luck there with getting your app before we get moving? All good?
Yeah.
All good? Great. So as soon as that gets in, you just log in. And everyone else, what I'm going to do is I'm going to backtrack and show you exactly how to get into a world like I'm in. Now, you're not going to join me. That is an option. However, as you can see here now, I'm in my iPad version. And this hopefully looks like your screen. Let me get rid of that little Teams pop-up. Okay. So here I am in my Minecraft world, and I'm going to press the pause at the top. I'm in the world here. I'm going to save and exit, and I'm going to go back to make it look like the screen that you're currently in, okay? And you should be at the very beginning, so I'm going to have to go back to catch up where you guys are. Okay, and let's go back one more, and here we are. Okay, so this screen is where everyone should be at the moment. If you don't have this screen up on your iPad after logging in, please let me know. One of the things I'm going to point out right here, guys, that's kind of important, especially if you're the administrator for the iPads for your school or maybe just for your year group, is one thing I want to point out is in the bottom right corner. So you can see it says 1.18.32. Does everybody see that? Okay. What that shows you is the version that you have. Now one thing I will advise you to do, guys, as you go forward, and you plan to use Minecraft in your classroom a lot, is I know it might be a pain, but I would always have the kids check to make sure when they log in, they have that number. It's the same for everybody. Okay. And also make sure it's updated, because if not, then some of the features won't be there. The students won't be able to join together and collaborate inside Minecraft. Okay. And do the multiplayer options, which I'll go through. Okay. So I'm going to start with that. That's probably one of the most important things to know about. So as you can see there in the bottom right corner, is if anyone is logged in right now and you don't see the same version as mine, that just means you don't have the most recent version if it's anything below that. Okay, so that means you might need an update later on. I wouldn't do it now though, but later on you can definitely do that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my characters. You can see here my character's on the right hand side, and below it there's a little hanger. I'm going to press on that hanger with my finger, and that is where we go to change the skin of our character. So when I click on that, we go to this area. And as you can see, the default at the top left, there's Alex and Steve, the original two from Minecraft, two characters. And then we have, it says recent, this is the one I'm currently using, but you can just scroll down with your finger and see all the different skins that you can use. Okay, so I'll give you a second to choose one that you want to use just for today. And if you see a plus symbol there, that just means usually there's more to choose from. So let's choose that one. There you can see there's more there. So if you see a plus symbol, there's many, many more. And then you're going to confirm in the bottom right once you choose something. And then that is your character to use your skin. Okay. I'll give everybody a few seconds to choose their skin. All right. So if you're having any trouble, accessing that area, please let me know. Or if anything is not working for you, please let me know. I'm just going to go over this area here while we're all here together, okay? So in the bottom right, like we said, is the version that you're currently on. You also have your character on the right-hand side. We've got all those buttons in the middle. I'm going to go over in just a second. And then we've got this question mark over here. Now, the question mark is just if you have feedback and also you need any help with anything in particular, kind of like a help ticket as well. You can put that. I wouldn't click on it. It'll take you somewhere else. So for now, by all means, go ahead and experiment with that if you want to afterwards and take a look at it, okay? Feel free to do that. And then here at the bottom, our button we have says switch accounts. It's just what it says. So if you have more than one Office 365 account that you log in to use Minecraft for, you can switch accounts there. Okay, or maybe you have some single sign on LinkedIn with your iPads. Your settings, those are for settings that control all the features, no matter what world it's created, etc. in Minecraft. And I'll talk about some of the words that I'm using, like world, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But just know that the settings areas for overall gameplay, that's where it's controlled. I'm not going to go in there for now, just because it's it's kind of next steps, and I don't want to overwhelm you with too much detail today. I want to make sure I cover the basics first. And then there's new and featured. What that'll do is take you to all the new things that are available in Minecraft. It also take you to the website to show you some other cool stuff. But I'm going to click on play right here. And then we've got this main dashboard area. Okay. So in this main dashboard, hello.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Get a question? Oh, I thought I heard someone. Feel free, guys, to unmute and ask a question if you got one right away, or put it in the chat, and I'll make sure we use it to guide us going forward. Okay. But in this area, this is our main dashboard. This is also what the students will see right when they get on, and we have these main areas. So we've got View My Worlds, and we've got View Library, and then below we got these small buttons: Create New, Join World, Import. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom. Now, import, I'm not going to click on that, but just to let you know, when you click on import, if you have a world, and a world is a Minecraft environment that you've created or students created, you can save it like a normal file. This would import it from your device or from wherever you have it stored on your iPad. Okay, that's a bit more next level stuff. I'll talk a bit more about that at the end on how to actually save a world to your iPad. But for now, just to let you know, that's what the import button does. If you have one on your iPad already, that's where you can import it from. Join world. This is if you're, as a teacher or your students are hosting a world. And again, the term hosting means that they've opened up one of the Minecraft worlds, and they're inviting others to collaborate with them. Well, the students or the colleagues that are going to join you are going to choose join world. And when they choose that, they're going to enter a code that's given to them by you or the student who's hosting the world. Okay. And I'll show you how to create that code as we go forward, okay, in today's session. But just to let you know, this is where you would go if you are joining a world that someone else has created or opened up, okay? And then at the bottom left, we've got create new. Okay. Oh, I got somebody's mic. Guys, you mind muting your mics for me? Thanks. Just for now. Thank you. Getting a little feedback on someone's mic. Thanks, guys. All right, thank you. And then at the bottom, we got create new. We're going to go there in a second. I'm going to show you how to create a world that you can use to follow along on the things that I'm going to show you today. And then we've got view my worlds. If I go here, you can see I have worlds here that I've already made. Okay. There's quite a few there. So if you click on there and there's nothing, don't worry. You will have soon enough more than you can handle. One of the things that I will say right away, guys, one of the unique things about Minecraft is your iPad, when you create something, or your student, the iPad they're using that day, when they're creating something in Minecraft, it is saved to that device, not to the account. Okay. So for example, let's say you number your iPads for student use. Like maybe you have 6 iPads. Like I used to have 6 iPads for 30 kids. And number your a student used number 4, right? One day, and they created all these marvelous things, and they log off at the end. They did everything right. But the next day, another student picks up iPad number 4, logs in with their account. They will still have access to whatever that student the day before created on that iPad. Okay, so it's very important if you're going to have an extended project in Minecraft that you're aware of which iPad the students are using for the duration of that project so they can always access it. Okay, otherwise, someone could go in and legitimately log in using their correct school email address, but have access to somebody else's creations and destroy it or do something they shouldn't do. Okay, so one thing to keep and to be aware of. So that's the View My Worlds. And then to the right, we have View Library. View Library is really cool. It's probably one of the biggest helpers if you're new to using Minecraft and you want to use it within lessons. The top left is probably the best one to show you first, subject kits. Because if you go into subject kits, you can break down what you're looking for by topics. Okay, science, maths, social emotional, digital citizenship, climate sustainability, and there's even an esports area for competitive gaming if you want to include that. But in terms of lessons, if I go into maths, for example, you can see it's kind of centered around American curriculum. However, the crossover is endless for lessons anywhere globally. So if we take a look at fractions, for example, and take a look at 3D fractions, you click on it, and you'll see in the top right, you can create the world that someone's made for it. There's a lesson plan, and you can even assign it through Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom. Okay, you can even add resources. Okay, such as Flip. Well, now it's Flipgrid, but now it's called Flip, isn't it? Our websites. You can even add all kinds of tools. In fact, you can even create the world, open it, and you can edit it, which is something I can touch on later. Like I said, that's kind of next level, but you can actually edit these worlds to make them more in line if there's something slightly different that you're teaching about 3D fractions, right? Maybe one of your learning objectives is slightly different. Maybe the activities that you want the students to do or the assessment doesn't quite line up, but it's in the ballpark. That's something you can edit, okay, very easily. But that is one of the great things. Now, I'm going to go back to where we started. You see, I'm just using the back arrow here, the top left to go back. Okay. If I go back to where we started, right here in this library, it says at the bottom, educator resources. That'll take you to the website that you got the app from. And on that website, you have access to even more lessons. Okay. All you have to do is put in the keyword and you'll get tons of lessons, a lot more than you will get here in the app itself. Okay. Teachers from all over the world share lesson plans, worlds, ideas, and it's all there, ready to go. Let's take a look at it. And you can even add things if you want later on if you become a certified educator. Okay. There's monthly build challenges there that you can get involved in with your students. There's some starter worlds. If I click on that, you've got what's called biomes and you have build plates. Now, biomes are natural environments and ecosystems. Okay. And then build plates are templates that are usually centered around urban areas, or they could be natural areas, but they're more developed as opposed to the biomes, okay, which are totally natural. Okay, so lots of those things to use in there. And then we have the how to play. So if you're looking at some tutorials for yourself, for example, like we got here, the start here for the touch is a great way to get started with iPads. Okay. Tina's got a question here. You mentioned students logging in to use Minecraft. Would they use their Microsoft Teams login details to do this? Yes. So to log in, they would have to have a single sign in through, normally it's through the same, but they use Microsoft Teams for. So yeah, definitely the same one. It's also, you're going to have to check with your IT admin just to make sure the licenses that your school bought for Minecraft, that the users are aligned with the email addresses that you use for Microsoft Teams, but it should work. Okay. Good question, Tina. Thank you. And then you've got other tutorials you can take a look at if you're looking to train yourself. These are great too if you want to have your colleagues do it. They're not as engaging, of course, as having people together and trying it out, but it is fun and you can follow along and it's very easy to do. I'm going to go back. I'm going to keep clicking here at the top left to go back. And here we are. Now, I'm going to show you guys what to do to follow along with me, okay? So to get started, what I'm going to have you do is go down to the bottom left and just tap with your finger, create new, and it's going to give you two options. We've got new and we got templates, okay? So if you click on new, it should look like this. And I'm going to give you a second just to catch up there. So I clicked on new world, and I'm going to give you your first introduction to settings because we're going to change some of these settings on the right-hand side. And these settings are going to be the same every time you create a new world, or even if you go into a world that someone's given you, like one of those lessons, or maybe your student sends you a lesson, okay, or a world that they've created in line with the lesson you taught. So first things first, I'm going to take a look at where it says default game mode on the top right underneath the name of the world, which says my world. I'll just leave that. It says default game mode. It says survival. Well, we're going to change that because if we leave it on survival, what's going to happen is it's going to keep it like the normal Minecraft game where you have to survive and there's monsters that come out at night and you have a health bar, and if you die, you're dead, and that's the end of the game, right? So we want to change that. So I'm going to tap that with my finger and tap creative. Okay. So creative will make sure that we don't have to survive. We don't have a health bar. Okay. We're just having fun. We can create as we go and not worry about getting mauled by spiders and zombies. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down just a bit more. And I'm going to turn off mob loot just for myself. You can have that if you like having the animals. If you don't click on this, animals will pop out. Okay, all kinds of animals, pigs and donkeys and whatever else, and they might still show up. I'm going to keep scrolling down. I'm going to also activate always day, so that way we don't have to worry about it turning into nighttime while we're playing the game. Okay, this is for your students as well. If you're having them create something, or maybe you're creating something, the last thing you need is it to get dark. Okay, so you can keep it to where it's almost day, and then we're going to turn off the mob spawning as well. But again, anytime you see the word mob, it just mainly means animals, but also creatures of any sort. Okay. All right, so we're going to leave that the way it is. And the last thing we're going to do is go scroll up. And right here where it says world type, give everybody a few seconds to find that. Hopefully you can see that. It says world type, and it says infinite right now. Okay, well, I'm going to change that. I'm just going to tap it with my finger, and I'm going to make it flat. Okay, the reason why I want to make it flat is because I want it to be very easy when I show you how to move around in a Minecraft world. I want you to be able to just go where you want, not worry about bumping into anything or getting lost. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Now, you guys are going to press play to get started. I'm going to go into the world I've already created, which is the same as that one. Okay, which is the one I was in just a second ago. Okay, so now it's coming up. Hopefully everybody's world has come up and we're almost in there. Here we go. So I'm in the air at the moment. Let me get on the ground. We can start there. Now, as you can see on the left-hand side in the bottom, I have my direction pad. And notice as I press forward, I get the intermediate directions that pop up if I want to go in a diagonal move, okay, from like northwest or northeast, and same going backwards, okay? So that's going to pop up there. But what I want you to do for right now is just I want you to move around and just kind of get to grips with the controls. And you're going to use your left hand for the control pad, but your right hand is going to control where your head moves. Now, right here, that dot on my screen is my finger. Okay, and on your iPad, as you put a finger on there and drag from left to right, it's going to swivel your head. Okay, so I've got mine on the horizon line. And if I use this in conjunction with the direction pad, see, then I can start moving wherever my head goes. Okay, wherever my head is looking, that's the direction even if I'm going forward. So right now I'm going in a full circle. Okay, so I want you to come to grips with the controls. I'm going to give you a minute to just move around. We're not going to build anything yet. Okay, I'm going to show you how to build stuff in a second. But just for now, just get used to the controls. So just move around. The great thing about a flat world is you can't really get lost. You're just going on a flat surface and just moving around. So move around in a circle. Try to go backwards. Move left, move right. Make sure your right finger is swiveling your head. You can look up and you can look down. Okay, so for example, I can look up here at my little sign telling us what exactly we're covering today. And if you have any questions while you're moving around, please let me know. Oh, I better go fix one of the pictures over there. Any questions as you're moving around? And I better get rid of that. Now you'll notice when your students do this, they do it very quickly, right? You've probably seen them already, and they're just kind of moving around. Their thumbs are going. They got the left thumb on the direction pad. The right thumb is just moving them around and hit and swivel. And you'll also notice in the right-hand corner, there's a button. And I'm going to go over that button in a second and what it does. You probably already messed with it and found out what it does, but I'm going to go over all the things you can do with it, okay? Hi, Alan. Okay, I see a great question here. So Alan's asking, can I have students on desktop laptops and iPads in the same world on the same server? Yes, you can. Now, Alan, I'm going to mention what I talked about earlier. I don't know if you were here at the beginning. What you're going to have to do is make sure they have the same version of the app. Okay, so in that bottom right corner on the home screen, make sure everybody has that same version. Okay, for all the iPads and any laptops or PCs that you plan on having them join together. There shouldn't be an issue. The only thing I would also check is just to test it first before you do it in the classroom. That's just, it's one of those things you definitely want to test first, just in case. You never know. Maybe the server might be blocked through your PCs and laptops, and they can on the iPads. It's just fine. So it's just one of those things. So you're gonna have to definitely check it out. Okay. Any questions about using the direction pads? All good? Everybody moved around? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna start with looking at that button on the right hand side, as I mentioned. So when I tap it, I'm jumping, right? Okay. And you can do this while you're moving around. I mean, if I go forward here, try to jump over the chest, you can see, okay. You can do all kinds of things with that. Now, if I double tap that button on the right-hand side, it's going to allow me to fly. Okay, so, and also you're going to notice the buttons change slightly. So if I double tap that, you can see it's turned into what looks like a little amoeba, right? Okay, so that means I'm flying. Okay, and I've got the curvy arrow going up and the curvy arrow going down. Now, the curvy arrow going up just means I'm going to float higher in the sky straight up until I take my finger off it, and vice versa. If I tap the one going down, I'm going down. Now, one thing I will say, guys, and this will drive you nuts if I don't tell you this, is even though I've gone all the way to the ground, I'm still flying. Technically, below my feet, there's a little bit of space between me and the ground. Okay, so when you see on your screen like mine, that little amoeba and the curvy arrows, you're flying still, and you're not going to be flat on the ground until you double tap it again and see this normal button with the diamond in it. Okay, so just to let you know, so there might be times where you're trying to get into a house and you can't, and you think that you're walking, but you're actually still flying. Okay, that's probably why. Okay, so have a go now, just like you did before. Fly up in the sky and then practice moving around using the direction pads and swiveling your head while you're up in the air, because this is probably one of the greatest tools as a teacher I used in the classroom, was joining a world with students and flying around and looking at what they were doing so I could actually see how they're either working together or what they were creating. We'd have check-in sessions, okay, and have them pause the game and we talk about it, okay? So have a go at trying to fly around the world and move around just like you did with the walking, okay? So I'll give you a few seconds there, and if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat. I'm going to cover all those buttons on my iPad, as you can see here, okay? So don't worry, I'll get to all of them. As you're flying around, I'm going to show you something that goes for when you're walking on the ground or flying in the air. And you can, one of the things that you'll have to notice to see if this works is the character in the top left. You see my characters up there, my skin that I chose, okay? Now, if let's say I'm flying, but even if I'm walking, I can do this. If I double tap the forward button, I'm running. You can see now his little legs are going, and I'm just going to run in a circle. You can see how fast his legs are moving. So I'm actually flying faster as well. Now, if I just like normal and I tap it once and hold down, he's walking, okay? And double tapping will make him run faster, okay? So you can see him doing that in the top left. Okay, so if you want to get somewhere faster, you just double tap the direction you're going, hold down on that second tap, and you're zooming across the worlds, okay? I'll give you a few more seconds. Don't forget, when you come down, you can either hold down the curvy arrow or just double tap that little amoeba in the middle there and fall to the ground. You won't get hurt. We're not in survival mode. We're in creative mode, so you can't die. So you could fall from way up high, okay? And you'll be just fine. All right. So no questions about moving around. So that's great. Looks like everybody's got that. Let's talk about these items on my screen. You see at the bottom, I'm tapping here. You can see that I'm tapping through all these things I've got here. Okay. So this is called the hotbar. Okay. The hotbar is where we hold items, and I'm going to show you how to find items. Okay. I got a chest here. I've got a grass block. So if you want to build in Minecraft, you have to have items in this hotbar. Okay. Now, how do we access items on the hotbars? We have to go to the inventory. So the inventory is all the way on the end past your last spot. There's 9 spots exactly. Okay. And to the right of the last spot is 3 dots. If you click on those 3 dots, we'll get the inventory. Okay. So I'll give you a second to find the inventory. I'll go back just in case someone blinked and didn't see what I did. So I'm at the very bottom on my hotbar. Okay, I'm going through all the areas there. You don't have to do what I'm doing here. I'm just showing you the hotbar, making sure you can see it on my screen. But to the right of the last spot, there's 3 dots. So just tap on the 3 dots and we can access things here. Now at the top, you'll see that we're in the search mode by default. And the little magnifying glass is green, and that's the tab that we're in. That means if you already know what it's called, what you're looking for, you can just type it in and find it. But chances are, okay, the reason you're here today is because you've never used Minecraft, so you probably don't know what you're looking for. So what we can do is you can go through each of these other tabs to find specific things around building. And you can see if there's little pluses, little plus symbols, there's more items associated with that type of material. Okay. There's here for weaponry and armor. Okay. Here's stuff for interior or for exterior or for aesthetics purposes, all kinds of things. And also items that you'll find in normal Minecraft as well as Minecraft Education Edition. Okay, some more advanced stuff. Some of your kids will probably know what some of these items are. And then we've got some more natural objects that you can choose from. I'm going to go back to where we were before. Okay. I'm just going to grab, if I tap on that block, you see the top left where I tapped? I'll tap anywhere. And then I tap on my hotbar, it'll go there. Did you see that? And if I do it vice versa, okay, it goes away. So again, just tap on what you want on any of these items. So I'm going to tap on the first one I see there at the top left, and then tap on my hotbar on an open space. You probably have more open spaces than I do. So I'm just going to tap there, and there it is. It should say 64. Okay. And we're going to leave that in our hotbar. Okay, give me a few seconds. If that didn't work for you, please let me know. Okay, and then to get out of here, I'm going to press the X up at the top right. You see the little X up there. And again, if you tap on the spot where your item is on your hotbar, you can see I have that here, and I also have it here. It'll be in your hand. In the bottom right corner, that's what you're holding in your hand, is that block. And you can see I have grass ones as well. I can change to the different items. So you can go ahead and, if you want to go in the inventory quickly now and grab more than one item, feel free. So I'm just going to show you how to build using the most basic of blocks. So I've just chosen this oak block. I've also chosen a grass block. Okay. And I'll show you why I chose the grass block in a second. It's probably the beginner's friend. If you've never played Minecraft, I would advise you to get the grass one. All right. Any questions on inventory before we get moving? Okay. Before we go forward, if you have any questions on relating this to the classroom, please, by all means, put that into the chat so I can see it before we get moving, okay? But one thing I want to talk about is usually teachers, when I talk about Minecraft, they just don't know where to start to use it. Before I even show you some of the cool stuff you can do, is I want to talk about using this in lessons, because what you shouldn't do is start over and reinvent the wheel with your lessons. Minecraft is a great tool, but that's all it is. It's not going to replace anything in your classroom that you're doing in terms of your teaching and how you approach your relationships with your students. What it's going to do is give you options. So for example, if you're already having your students if they're already doing a math lessons and you have a specific form of a summative assessment for that, or even a formative assessment, what you could do is just have choices linked to it. And Minecraft could be one of those if they can directly show how to how they've learned the specific objectives that you're trying to get across, and using the success criteria you set, they can do it visually. Okay. There's also ways, I won't be able to cover it today, but there's also ways to link URL links into Minecraft. There's also ways to also make sure that you can see any slideshows or presentations that they've done that they can link in to Minecraft, or they can just build them here and show you this way. So there's many, many ways to do that. That's probably one of the easiest ways to get started, is to integrate it into the lessons that you're already doing. But if you have any questions around that specifically, please put in the chat and I'll take a few seconds and we can go through that. Okay, so hopefully everybody's got an item in the hotbar. They've got something down there in the bottom right-hand corner that they've selected. If it doesn't look like the item, so my hotbar, I've selected an oak block. It looks like that in the bottom right corner. If they look totally different from each other, then something's off. So let me know if that happens to you. Now, how do we build? Well, let's start with placing our first block. So I'm going to point my head downwards, and notice where my head looks on the ground. There's little squares. Okay, that's basically where the block is going to go. Okay, it's showing me where the block is going to go. So if I tap once, there's the block. Okay, now iPads are a bit tricky. The kids are great at this, but it took me a while to get used to using iPads for Minecraft because it's very sensitive. So I tap once, there's the block. But if you hold down, and then see, I hold down even now. And this is why I have the grass block, because I get the grass block and I cover up my mistakes just like that. Okay. All right. So you have to have that touch. And I think it's the 2-second rule, 1, 2, and then let go. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So try that out for yourself. Place a block, just one, right? And then try the 2-second rule. Hold down your finger to 2 seconds, take it off right away, and see if you can do it without making a hole in the ground. But hopefully you've got a grass block like I do, and you can cover up your mistakes. Let's take a look. Tina used Minecraft to make a Mayan world for history. Cool. Didn't have the education edition, used regular Minecraft. Nice. Explain the benefits. Okay, cool. Definitely. So Tina, basically, I'm assuming you had accounts, Tina, for the students for the Minecraft Java edition, we call it. This is the PC version. Are you there, Tina? You can unmute Tina if you want, just quickly. Hopefully everybody's trying to build something.
Yeah, sorry,
Oh, got a bit of an echo there. Oh, look at that. I just dug a trench there. That's not good, is it? So notice how far away I am right now. It's about 5 blocks away. That's about as far as you can be and still lay down blocks. Okay. So I'm not going to make anything fancy, but what I do want you to try, if you've done that, if you've placed down 1 block and you did that okay, is I just want you to get used to the distance. Notice I'm not putting anything right below my feet like this. I'm just, okay. Doesn't really work anyways. You got to have a little bit of distance. In fact, that's too close. So I always say about a distance like this, about 3 blocks away. But I want you to try to put a couple of blocks together and then practice flying to get used to stacking those blocks, because this is really what the kids will master as well. And they'll show you how to do this. And then you get your head around. And notice I don't have to be, as long as I can see where it's going to go, I don't actually have to be facing it straight on. Okay. All right. And notice the laws of physics don't really apply in Minecraft as well. So let's say I've got this block. I'm going to take it out, put it over here. Okay, now I've got a floating block. Okay, so you can use that to your advantage and use negative space, okay, to your advantage when you're building things, and your students will know how to do this. Like I said, we'll talk a bit more about this, how you can do this on purpose with coding. As you can see in the background, I use this to have floating words in the sky, and I'll show you how to do that with the coding element in just a second. So you'd have to get licenses, Alan. So I can see here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you must have been using the Java edition. So I'm assuming again, Alan, they logged in using their Outlook accounts or Xbox accounts.
No, they didn't. They made local accounts for it.
Okay, great. And have you tried using those again?
The
education edition?
old Java version doesn't work anymore. I don't think it's supported.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah. So what I would advise is first, whatever single sign-on email addresses they have through your school, have them try that first to log in to the app, to the Minecraft Education Edition app.
Okay,
because you
yeah,
never know.
we're on 365.
Yeah, so they might have it, because sometimes what happens is your school will buy subscription, and Microsoft sometimes doesn't let you know that you've actually got it gifted for like a year. And you might not even know it. Okay, so I would suggest you try that. And even if you don't, you still get 25 free logins as a teacher, and the students get 10 free logins. Okay, and then
Okay.
You can try that out. And if you have any questions about licenses and all that stuff, I can point you in that direction later. Okay.
Brilliant. Cheers.
All right, great. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to try to make something. It doesn't have to be anything creative or even look like anything. As you can see here, I'm just stacking some blocks. The main thing is just to get to grips with it. Now, the great thing about this is you'll never, or no, I say never, I say 99% of the time, you'll never be creating things from scratch. Okay, in Minecraft Education Edition. In fact, what I showed you earlier, how to find those lessons, most of the time, the educators and Minecraft mentors who add lessons, they put in the world that you can use, and it's got everything built in there. So at the most, what you'll be doing sometimes is you'll accidentally break something, right? And you'll just be filling it in, just like I did earlier, right? If you accidentally mess it up, okay? You're just going to find what they use in the inventory, but it's all going to be there. I can't remember the last time I created a whole world from scratch because it just doesn't happen. Tina, can you show the stacking in? I just keep making holes. Okay, so first off, let me go off over here. You see on the ground what those little squares are, so I'm gonna distance myself and then just tap where I want the block to go. And if you're gonna stack, I suggest flying. So remember, double tap that button on the right-hand side. Yeah. And then you can look down. This is probably the easiest way to do it. Look at that. Okay, and then I can move over to the side. And if you're making a structure, oops, that's probably what you're doing, right? And notice how easy it is. Back of that. Okay, and notice, you see, as long as I can see where it's going to go, I can just tap and put it in there. Okay, and again, I've got my grass blocks. I can always go back there and fill those little potholes in. I've made them as well, Tina. Don't worry. It's like that with the iPads are so sensitive. The kids do it so quickly. And again, they're even today, I do stuff on here and they can do stuff 10 times better. Okay, hopefully that helps. Anybody else have a question on that? Okay, great. So we've discussed the basic settings. We've talked about some of the advantages of using this as an assessment. I mean, you could use this as anything. I've worked with teachers who use Minecraft as a hook to get the lesson started. They have a world that has a link because you can have guides that can transport students to either URL links so they can see today's slideshow or maybe the lesson. And the Minecraft is just a way to get the lesson started, right? Because you save, what, 5 minutes? You come in from break and you try to start your lesson as normal. It takes a while, doesn't it? But if you say, all right, get up the iPads, go into the Minecraft world and access the lesson, oh man, you're on it like that. It's crazy how quick they do it. Okay, so that's one way. And again, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant. It's just where your jump on point is. And if you're ready to start making lessons, again, by the time you start going on the website, making those connections, you'll find somebody who will want to either share a world that they've made that fits what you're doing, or someone even might volunteer and say, hey, I'd love to do that. Okay. So here we are. Now let's talk about the coding element because we've got other things to do. I want to make sure I take your questions at the end. So before we go into coding, I just want to go over a couple of things at the top. So at the top of our screen, we've got those 3 buttons. You can see there's one that has the cartoon little dialogue bubble. There's the pause button, and that one on the right is our coding agent, and that's the coding, how we access coding. But I'm going to start with that dialogue bubble and go here. Okay, this is where you can actually chat in Minecraft, and you might have seen this before if you've seen students using it. You can actually send messages through here and also use what's called slash commands, which are kind of not really coding, but they're kind of shortcuts that you can use using that /. As you can see, there's a button there with a / on it with some shortcuts in case you don't want to type slash commands. So for example, if you want to access code builder, you can do that there. If you want to set the world spawn, okay, as you can see here, it's automatically put it in. I just need to put in the coordinates, which I'd have to go into settings, and I'll show you that in a second. But you can set a world spawn. That means that when students come into a world, that either a world that you created, or maybe this is a student doing this, you can set it to where everybody always starts from the same place, right? That way they're not randomly starting all over the world in different areas. Okay, so for example, if you have a guide or you have something set up that introduces the lesson, you can make sure that that's the place that they're spawned, and you would just click the world spawn button. You can teleport, okay? You can teleport students and colleagues or whoever else is in the world with you. All you'd have to do is click on who, and it'll give you a list of all the students in the world. So I'm the only person, so you can see it's just showing me, but it'll have a list below your name of all the students and their usernames, and you would just click on who you want to teleport and where. So maybe you want that student to come to you because you can see they're doing something they shouldn't. You just click on yourself and that student will instantly be teleported to you. Got time, We've got it enabled for always day, so we don't need that one, but you can change the weather as well. Okay, if you want to mix it up, you can make it rain, have a thunderstorm, do all that stuff, okay, if you really want to. Okay, I'm just going to type something in here so you can see that. And there it is in the top corner. Oh, I added an I on the end. I thought I put an exclamation point. So there you can see there's where the messages pop up and it shows the username. So you know exactly who said it. Okay. Then we got the pause button. Okay, this is where we're going to go to change any settings. So if I want to go back into my settings and I forgot to make it creative, for example, or I want to go down and show the coordinates. Remember I talked about coordinates if you want to set a spawn point or a world spawn. And then I go back and there's our coordinates. You can see that. Okay. Now on mine it says position. That's where I am as the player, but it says agent position. You probably won't see that yet, but you'll see it once we start coding. Okay, because you have an agent who actually kind of actually does the coding for you. Okay, and I'll talk more about that in a second. So that's your positioning. It uses an XYZ or XYZ axis, which is why there's three different numbers. Okay, so it's a three-dimensional grid. Okay, so X, Y is normal, and then the Z axis, which is the three-dimensional axis. Okay, so you'll need to know that as we go into coding as well, just to get used to that. So if you haven't turned on the coordinates, I would do that. It might be helpful just to kind of get your head around Minecraft world. And then the other thing is there's two tabs. We're in the tab with the world symbol, the little globe, and then the one to the right is where we go to start hosting. Remember I talked about hosting earlier? So if you want to start hosting, press confirm. There's the code. And you remember where I showed you at the beginning to put in a code? Well, this is the code you would give out if you want people to join you. This is also students would give out this code if they want other students, maybe at their table or another table, to join them and collaborate. Okay. And you can change it. You can change it up whenever you want. Okay. And below here, it says my name, and it'll start popping up users as they get into the world. So you can check that out. Okay. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. But let's take a look at the coding elements. So at the top, we've got our little agent. You can see that button. Okay. And if we click on that, that's going to bring up a little side screen. Now, you probably don't see this right away, but on yours, if it's the first time you're using it, it'll give you three options to choose from. Choose the one at the top. It says make code. It kind of looks like a puzzle piece, and it's kind of purplish, right? So go ahead and choose that, and you'll get to this place here, okay? And if you're having any issues accessing that, please let me know. So you chose the top option, Wendy. It said make code. Had a little puzzle piece similar to this one. Okay. Strange. The only thing I could say is maybe close the app and open it up again and see what happens. So it should be available to you unless your school's put a block on it, which I doubt. But yeah, try closing the app and then opening it up again, see if that works. Anybody else having issues opening that? Good. I'll give Wendy a second here. Let me explain what we're looking at here, guys. So we're looking at basically Microsoft Make Code. It's actually a website, but it's built into Minecraft, and it's a great tool. What we're going to do is we're going to go to here where it says New Project. Kind of looks like a first aid kit or something. I'm just going to click on that, and we'll give it a name. Okay, so I'm going to call this one JTRS. Now you can see underneath it, it says Code Options. Okay, before I even create my project, you'll be able to code in block coding, kind of like Scratch, if you've ever used Scratch, JavaScript, and Python. Okay, now you can change it to where it's one of those only, but I would always suggest to have access to all of them because you can't change that once you restrict it. So I'm going to create that, and we're going to go here. Okay, and I give everybody a few seconds to get to this area here. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Or if you're not able to access what you're after, or the coding area, I should say, please let me know. Wendy, how are we doing? Did you get back in? Oh, it's restricted by Edinburgh Council. That's strange. I'll have to talk to Empowered Learning team to see why that is. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Wendy, if you can follow along, because again, it's device managed, so I don't know how to get around that through what they've set up. But yeah, we'll have to do our best, I guess, if you want to just kind of take a look and see. I'm actually talking to a Empowered Learning team next week, so I'll mention that. Okay. So we'll see what we can do. Anyone else have any questions? Please shoot them through before we get started. But this is where you should be, and this is where we're going to start. Okay. All right, great. So you can see my cursor now. I've changed to that so you can see exactly where I'm going when I press on things, so you don't get lost. Because for coding, there's going to be a few more steps to doing things. So right away, you can see we have two pieces given to us. This one says on start and one that says on chat command. I'm going to left click and drag it, or my iPad, I'm just going to hold down with my finger and drag it. I don't have to move it. I'm just moving it so you can tell which one I'm using. So I'm going to use this piece. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it rain chickens. Okay. We'll start with a little chicken rain, which you've probably seen. Didn't know quite how it was done, but I'm going to show you how that works. Okay. So the first thing is this coding piece by itself is basically saying on chat command run, something's going to happen. Right now, nothing. Okay, but the keyword is run, but we can change that. If I just tap on run with my finger, I'm going to type in the word chicken. Okay. And now we're basically saying everything's going to, or this code is going to be activated when I type the word chicken. Okay. So, but again, nothing's going to happen because we haven't really put anything into this piece of code yet. So, by the way, does anybody here use Scratch with their students or any projects? Yeah, got a few people using Scratch. Okay, Scratch is great. One of the things about Minecraft is it's basically the same, but it's in a format and a platform that they're used to seeing, and they love Minecraft. So and it gets, like I said, it gets activated within the Minecraft world instantly. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have to find a way to make it not only spawn. That's one of the words. Oh, Make Code Arcade. Love Make Code Arcade. Yeah, so it's the same. It's the same as Make Code Arcade, but this is built into Minecraft. So we've got this piece of code, but I need to find some code, some block coding to help me create some chickens. Okay. So anytime we're dealing with animals, can anybody put in the chat, what's that word I showed you in settings when we're dealing with any kind of animals or any kind of non-playing characters that are animated and animals or characters or anything like that? Mob, yeah. So there we go. So mob. Never work with animals or chickens. Yeah. Oh, I thought it said chickens. Yeah, never work with animals or children. So yeah, mob. So we're gonna go to where it says mobs here. Okay, and we're gonna grab that top one where it says spawn animal at 000. And I put that here. Okay. And we've got something here, but let's take a look at what it's going to do. So we're just going to kind of translate it here. So what it's saying here is when I type in the word chicken, okay, it's going to spawn, which is a Minecrafty word. It's going to spawn that should be a chicken egg, but if we do the drop down, hover over it, yep, that's a chicken egg. Okay, so it's going to spawn a chicken at 000. Those are the coordinates. Remember at the top left here? So it's basically at ground zero, literally. So ground zero is just where we are exactly. So it's going to spawn the chicken exactly where we are in the X, Y, Z coordinates on our three-dimensional grid. Okay. So you can press the play button. You don't have to because we have it shows on start, but some people like to do it for good luck and it makes the screen disappear. Okay. So now we have to type the word chicken. Well, where do we type the word chicken? Anybody remember how I can bring up to type in anything? I guess. Where do I need to go? Who remembers on our iPads? Where do we go? So we're going to have to go to the top where that little cartoon dialog bubble is on our iPads here. And tap on that. Okay. And then down here, type in the word chicken. Oh, I hear it. There he is. Okay. So we spawned the chicken, but it's not really raining chickens, is it? Okay. So we've spawned some chicken. We spawned one chicken. So I'm going to go back to my code builder at the top. Remember, at the top of your iPad, you'll see that little coding agent. We'll tap back on him. That takes us back into where we were. Okay. So I want the chicken to spawn above me, right? And I want it to fall. So which one would I choose? The X, Y, or Z axis? Anybody know? Who can type that into the chat first for some street cred? Y axis, yes. So we're going to have to choose the Y axis, which is the second one. So if we want it to fall on high, what's a good number? Anybody want to throw a number in the chat? That'd be a good number to put here on our grid. We got to use a positive, definitely, right? So what are we putting in there? What do you think? Just to give you a clue, your character in Minecraft is only 2 blocks high, right? Our character that we're running around today with, he's only 2 blocks high. So 50, wow. Okay, I'm gonna do half of that, 25. Oh, that's it, a nice in-between mix there. Okay, so I'm gonna press the play button, get rid of this again. Gonna go back to the top of my iPad. Yeah, it's so sensitive, isn't it? And type on the chat, type in chicken, press enter and look up. And there it is. Look, he's coming. Now, if you do it from 50 blocks, he'll come from even higher, but go ahead. You do you. All right, Tim? So hopefully your chicken fell from the sky. Give that a go. All right. Let me know if you had any issues making your chicken come from the sky. Okay. Thumbs up, all good. Hopefully your chicken came down. Okay, now let me start with this. Did anybody have any problems summoning their chicken? Okay, what I'm going to do now is go to the top of my iPad. Get rid of, I keep making blocks up here. Let me go to an empty spot in my hotbar. Go back to Code Builder or Make Code. Go back to our code. Now, it didn't really rain chicken, did it? It rained chickens. It rained a chicken. So we want more than one. So can anybody guess now where I want to go if I want to have more than one chicken spawn? What kind of coding block from all of these options should I choose? Let's see, Tim and Tina are on a roll here. Let's see who can beat them to the chat. Which one of these would I choose? Anybody have a guess? Basic? Good guess. No. So I want something, basically what I want to do, I should be more specific. What I want to do is have this action repeat itself, right? Because I want to create spawn more than one chicken. There we go, loops, definitely. So I'm going to go to loops. And I have now all kinds of loop coding here, but I'm going to grab the repeat piece. Kind of looks like an alligator mouth. And I'm going to have that eat my purple bit. And right now it says repeat 4 times. Okay, so we're just going to have 4 chickens come down. But you can change that number. In fact, if we really want it to rain, it needs to be a big number. Now, Tim, He put a big number last time. Tim, what do you think's a good number? How many chickens should we have from the sky coming down? A million? Wow, that's a lot. I wonder if it could handle that. That's a good one, Jazz. I'll let you put that one in and see if it can actually hold that many chickens. I'm just gonna put 200. Why not? Let's go for it. Okay. And I'm gonna go back to the top of my iPad and select the chat. Type in chicken and let it fly. And there they come. It looks like there's just one, but if I step back, look at that. Now that's raining chickens, isn't it? Wow. I guess maybe you could do a million, Jazz. You could try that out. Let me know how that goes. If that many zeros fits in the coding. Okay, they're still coming, aren't they? Okay, so now I'm going to go back. I'm going to give you guys a few seconds. Go ahead, or a few minutes to try that out. I'm just going to go back into my coding to get set up. Now, if anybody, I'm actually going to have a contest at the end of this for some Minecraft swag for the people that are actually here live. So if you have a cool screenshot of any of the things that we're working on, I'll have a contest later for that. Or you can just take a screenshot of my screen if you want. Get this out of the way. These are everywhere. Get back over here. Get out of the way of the chickens. They're following me. Okay. All right. So let's go back to my coding. But first of all, hopefully everybody was successful with that. Anybody have any issues with that? Everybody good? Okay. So so we've got the chickens. We did our chat command. That was the first thing we did. We found the mob piece of coding to make sure we're dealing with animals, and we chose the kind of animal. Now, what I would like you to do is just play around with that coding that we've already put and change some of the things. You can change the chat command, you can change how many times it's going to repeat, even change the XYZ, or even the type of mob character that is going to be spawned. It doesn't have to be a chicken. In fact, it doesn't even have to be an animal. You'll see many options down here, okay? So I'll give you a few seconds to try out some of those different types of mob characters. You can make it rain and have a go. And if you have anything cool that you did, please let me know in the chat or just unmute. Let me know what you're working on, or maybe you've already done it. Oh, okay. There we go, Alan. All right. Well, what I'm going to do here then is set up another challenge here because we can now show how one example of how we can integrate what we've done here with Minecraft and things that we kind of covered in here. So what I'm going to do is go into the inventory, and if you're following along, just go to the inventory and type in gate. Okay. Now you don't have to use the gates, but this brings up different types of gates you can use, but also there's fencing. Okay. And you can coordinate that to build a large area. And actually what I'm going to do is challenge you right now is to build a large area. And then I want you to rain chickens again, but this time I want you to have an area ready for them to be corralled so they don't leave. Okay. And it doesn't have to be chickens. Okay. In fact, it'd probably be better if you don't, because the chickens could fly out of your fencing area if you don't make it tall enough. So what I'd like you to do is choose some fencing, make a large perimeter. Okay. Now this is, again, this could go into your perimeter. And what's your perimeter area like that you need? But go ahead and create that on the go here. And then redo your raining chickens coding and see if you can make them all land inside of your fenced area. So I'm going to choose this one. Again, all I have to do is tap it, put it in. And you can see the more I go over here. Oops. Get out of the way, buddy. Oops. There's my grass. Where's my grass again? Good thing is it doesn't matter about that. So I get that going. Get your fencing all the way around. And then what we'd like to do is when you make it rain chickens, we want them all to land inside of there. So give you a few seconds to see if you can do that. Don't forget to bring your coding up once you're ready. And hopefully, I know a lot of people don't have two screens, but if you do have two screens, I'll show you a couple of things here in a second. So I'll give you plenty of warning, but if you have two screens, you can still see what I'm doing while you're working on that, okay? Give me a few seconds here to get that moving. So Alan, if I don't cover some of the things, there's a few things that I'm not covering that are unique to the education edition. This is just one of them. Obviously, the coding element that's built in. All right, so just a heads up here, I'm going to show you something if you want to take a look at my screen. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if you have two screens or not, but I wanted to show you at the beginning, if you remember, we chose the option to make sure we have access to all the different coding languages, JavaScript, as well as Python. And this is a great way to differentiate for your students, okay, especially if you are doing an ICT lesson. And maybe you have students who are great with block coding, and maybe a couple of them are ready to move on, or maybe some of them have some experience with other languages. Well, at the top here, we're in block coding, but to the right of it, we can translate this. So maybe it's their first time using JavaScript or another language. We can translate, okay, the coding. And if we start with simple coding, such as raining chickens, we start gaining that familiarity. We start seeing patterns, and we can even use this in our lessons if this is what you're teaching. Okay. And then we can even translate it to Python instantly. Okay. So that's instantaneous, right? You don't have to worry about what language you start off in. You'll always be able to access the other ones. All right. And this is great. It's approachable for the students. It's non-threatening. It's just an easy way for them to see, hey, wait a minute, I can code. I can do this. Right? And to show them how easy it is to get started. And again, for your students who are ready to move on, they can work on this as opposed to just block coding. Okay. Any questions on this part? And like I said, I love this one because what happens here is then I always get a student say, oh yeah, I use JavaScript. And I say, great. Well, that's your challenge. Okay. Is you're going to have to do it all in JavaScript. Okay. Now, one of the great things about this as well, I'm just going to go back to my block coding here. Okay. Is when we go back to the home, okay, there's a little home button up there. Your projects are saved, okay? And you can even import projects that you already have. Okay, now if you go back into, I should have gone back into the project and done this, but there's a little cog here with some settings. You can save the project, okay? And when you save it, you can save it to your device, okay, on your iPad or whatever other device that you're using, okay? And that's the great thing. And you can even send it to someone else. All right. So let me get that off my screen now. I think it froze on me. That's one of the great things about Make Code, or you can delete the project. And for some reason, it's not going to come off. Let's bring this back up, and then I can stop sharing now. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing there, guys. That was, for some reason, that froze up on me, so we're going to let that just write it out. But that was the last thing I wanted to show, anyways, is the ability to save those projects and also send them to other people. So, for example, if you have coding projects, which I used to have challenges for my students where they had to use strictly just coding within Minecraft to create something, because there's many tutorials that you can follow along on the Make Code when we first went into Make Code. If you noticed, there was other areas that we could have scrolled down to, and there's some tutorials. And there's also ways to start new projects where the students can save, like I just showed you, what they've done, and they can send it into you either through Microsoft Teams or if they're using any other LMS. Okay, or they can airdrop it to you, which was probably the coolest way. I used to get projects is I would just have them in the morning, drop it off, because sometimes they use their iPads at home, and they would just airdrop it to me. It's so convenient. So lots of things there, but I wanted to leave time here for some questions. Let me just close down the app. And see if there's any questions, guys. I wanted to make sure I leave some time here for that. So any questions about, first of all, lesson implementation or any things that we covered, in case you kind of, sometimes you fall behind and you're trying to catch up and then you miss out on what the next thing was. So any questions on any of that? All good? Okay, so I'll do a quick quiz in the chat, and basically the first person to answer is the winner, okay? So I'll just ask a couple of questions. There was a couple of things I slipped into the session that I mentioned, and one of them I mentioned how many blocks high the characters are in Minecraft. Does anybody remember? Alan's quick, 2. Yeah, so 2. Good job, Alan. Here we are. Tim was in there second. All right, and then there was another one. I threw around some Minecrafty terms, right? So what is the term for creating an animal? Creating something in Minecraft that's an organic being, I should say. Spawning, yeah, so spawning is the one. And then the last one is, what's the word that we use when we want to open up the world for others to collaborate with us? What's that called? I know, right? It's all about who has the high broadband, the high speed internet at their house, because you get in first. So anybody, a host? There we go. Wendy got it. Hosting. Yeah, great. Sometimes it's quicker if you're on your phone. And there it is, isn't it? All right, cool. So those are some real Minecrafty terms you'll hear a lot as you go through and start getting more involved and taking a look at the lessons on the website, maybe even communicating with others. And what we're going to do is we have this, of course, on the recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay on here. If you have any questions or you want to ask me particulars about using it at your school, Maybe you're just starting out and maybe your iPads, you want to know how to use them effectively with the numbers that you have, whether one-to-one or otherwise. I'll be more than happy to help you with that. So I'll stay on here, guys, and take questions. Okay. Or if you want to put something in the chat, if you got to go, by all means, do that and I'll take a look at it and try to get back to you. But I want to thank you for your time tonight. And I know with teaching and everything, you're probably dead tired. So I really appreciate you coming on the call. So thank you very much. And hopefully I see you again. And feel free to shoot away. If you have any questions, feel free to unmute your mic or put it in the chat.
Hi, Dean. I'll jump in if no one. Oh, okay. Yeah, licenses. My question too. So we're a Microsoft school and volume licensing, and how does it all work? How much can I do myself without having to involve our IT department here, who are incredibly slow?
Okay. Yeah, good question. So it's not an easy answer, but I'll go